Hey guys, so I'm really dumb, and I was supposed to start my stream an hour ago, and I've been playing this for an hour, and I didn't realize I just never started my stream. So I've been talking to myself like an idiot for an hour. You didn't really miss much. I killed some enemies, and I went into a new area. I mean, I guess you did miss that, but we're gonna go back there. We gotta go back there. So you really didn't miss much. I'm just a complete idiot, I guess. It's the first time that's happened. Just completely forgot to start the stream. Um, I don't even know if I can do a full 2.5 hours now without being late to work. Let's see, it's 11 right now, so let's see, 2.5 hours. 11 will take 11 plus 2 hours will take me to 1 o'clock. 2.5 hours, 1:30. So I guess maybe I'd have just enough time. That's fine. I can do that. I can maybe cut it like 5 minutes short. Give myself some time to go to the bathroom or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm dumb. I forgot to start my stream. Um, yeah, I don't know. You didn't miss much. Honestly, it might be a good thing that you missed the first hour because I was eating a lot and it was a bit of a mess. I had to do a lot of fiddling to make sure everything sounded and looked nice. Because I don't know what was going on with OBS, but something was going on. But all we did was continue the main quest, which was to find an antidote for Dr. Ned. We had to go to a new area called Generally Hospital. And we fought some enemies, nothing too crazy. Like I said, we're going to go back there. So anything you missed, I mean, you'll see it again. Other than that, we just got done opening the golden chest a lot. We got a bunch of new guns. We got a new assault rifle, we got a new shotgun, we got a new sniper, and an SMG. I'm gonna try out these shotguns side by side to see which one I like better. Because for some reason the gearbox shotgun still has better stats than most of the other shotguns I've seen. Even though it feels like it's starting to fall off. So I don't know if that's like a... I don't know. I don't know if that's like a game stat reporting bug or like some kind of mechanic that's working behind the scenes that I just don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't know. So we're going to try out all these new weapons. We're going to go back, like I said, to where we were. We're going to get some side quests done. And we're going to talk about some lore, because there was some interesting lore that was hinted at that I thought was interesting. Alright, so the side quests we have right now, there's a few of them to do. There's not too many, but there's a few. Right now, what we have to do is find the whereabouts of a man who was hired by Hyperion, which, if you didn't know, is one of the weapon manufacturers in this game, in this franchise, really. Um, they make a certain, not a certain type of weapon, but they make weapons, they make guns. Um, and they said, oh, we sent out a guy to Jacobs Corporation, which is where we are right now. Jacobs Cove. We sent him out to Jacobs Cove, and we said, you need to investigate the physician there, aka Dr. Ned, because we want you to get some information for us about Jacobs Corporation. Not about the zombie apocalypse, but about Jacobs Corporation. So they sent him out like half a year ago or something like that. And maybe not quite that long, but at least a month. At least a month ago. And they said The guy never returned back to Hyperion, so they fired him. But we need to deliver a severance package to him, which I think is kind of hilarious and kind of interesting at the same time, because if you think about it, it implies a lot about the lore of the corporations in this game broadly, which I think is great because that is one of the gripes I had with this game in particular, that we don't talk about the weapons manufacturers almost at all. Yes, Atlas is like pivotal to the story because Commandant Steele is from Atlas. All the Crimson Lands, I think, are. Wait, no. I had that wrong. Atlas, excuse me, Atlas is an off world planet that wanted to come to Pandora for the vault. I can't remember if the Crimson Lands are from Atlas, but I know Atlas wanted the vault as well. So we know Atlas was trying to get to the vault. We know Dahl was trying to get to the vault because Tanis is from Dahl. Dahl, right? Dahl. Um, so they kind of had a race going there for the vault. We have a lot of corporations that we see that we don't ever talk about, like Tedior, Jacobs, Gearbox. I don't think is one of them. I think Gearbox is just a DLC thing because Gearbox is the name of the company that published the game. Whatever. Torg, we never hear about Torg. Malawan, we never hear about Malawan, or any of the accessories like Anshin. I think Turtle is one of them, something like that. So I think it's very cool that this DLC takes place in Jacob's Cove because we learn a lot about what is going on in those corporations. And all of that to say, I think it's hilarious that Hyperion doesn't even care about what's going on here. They just want to fire that guy and give him his compensation. So, there's a whole zombie outbreak here. It's been localized, seemingly localized to the Jacob's Cove. And Hyperion is like, I don't even really care, He's been gone for a while. We're not really interested about what's going on with our rival corporation and our competition. But just find the guy and give him his money, They didn't even ask me to report what was happening. They just said, give him his money. So they can't even do it themselves. They probably don't want to send another guy down here because he's probably going to get lost as well or die or something, So they said, just get somebody else to do it, aka me. And I think it's also very interesting that Dr. Ned is said to be working for Jacobs Corporation, or at least is commissioned by them. Because they say we need to talk about the guy sent by Hyperion to investigate the position of Jacobs Corporation, which they don't name, but we know it's Dr. Ned. I mean, obviously it's Dr. Ned. Who else would it be, right? So it's a lot of very interesting information, I think. We've learned that Dr. Ned, aka Zed, if this is a canon thing, works for Jacobs all the time, which also means the Vault Hunters, Helena Pierce, Scooter, Claptraps, etc., also work for Jacobs, essentially. It also implies that Jacobs is native to Pandora. Which is not true for all the corporations. Like I said, Atlas is not native. Dahl is not native. Hyperion is not native. Maybe Hyperion is. We're going to learn a lot more about Hyperion very soon. But put simply, Hyperion operates in space, but they are not necessarily from a different planet. They might be, they might not be. We don't know yet. that they operate in space, in like a space station ISS type of thing. Ooh. So I think it's very cool how we finally get to see a little bit more of that corporate side of Borderlands. I think we're going to learn a little bit more later through some side quests in like Borderlands 2 and 3. Um, and like I said, we will learn about Hyperion a lot more in the next game. But that's just, something in this game that I thought was lacking. But clearly they realized that, so they remedied it. Very cool. Very cool. So again, like I said, all we're doing is trying to find a Hyperion employee or ex-employee now, and delivering his severance package. I think it's also interesting that nobody's ever heard about the zombies either, at least not outside of this local area. Like, yeah, Hyperion did send somebody to get information from Dr. Ned directly, but I'm not too sure if that was about the zombies or just because he's like a illegal doctor. Or something else, you know? It's all very cool. Very cool. Another thing I was talking about before I realized I was not streaming um, was the canonization of these DLCs. Because I think typically in stuff like this, or in stories, or in other media, anytime there's like extra content or add-ons or anything like that, sometimes they're not canon to the story and they're just kind of extra stuff. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's really silly stuff, like sometimes in Call of Duty there's really silly events or skins or something like that. But in these games it's not entirely obvious whether or not everything is canon or not. Like if you take Borderlands 2, I know I always talk about Borderlands 2, but it really is, I don't know, just that great of a game. But in Borderlands 2, there's a DLC in there with Tiny Tina, which is basically the seed for the game of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is another case where I'm like, I don't know if that's canon, I don't know if this is just a fun spin-off that's not connected to the story at all. But it seems just connected enough to be plausible that it's canon, right? So I've been saying that this DLC that we are playing right now is canon, and Dr. Zed really did make zombies and we're helping him to cure it. Otherwise, they would take over the planet, basically. Right? And if we take that to be true, if we say that that is canon, I think it's interesting that they decided to go with zombies for the first DLC, because you would think if they're setting up zombies, they would also in the future set up maybe vampires, werewolves, other folklore myths, I don't know, cryptids, like a Loch Ness monster type of thing. Because why not, right? Set up a zombie storyline, in the next game maybe have a werewolf storyline, the next game have a vampire storyline, so on and so forth, yes? But that's where the canonity, let's say, the canonity of this DLC comes into question. Because if this is canon, guys, you gotta follow me here. If this is canon, then that means it would make sense for them not to have vampires in the next game or werewolves or what have you. You know, it would make sense not to have them because how would they even exist? How is Dr. Zed gonna make vampires? Like, come on, guys. Zombies are believable enough. You can make a some kind of uh, medicine or chemical which acts as it does and turns them into zombies like it has here, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like past zombies, they'd be pushing it to say Dr. Zed made werewolves. Like, how would you even do that? Not really the same kind of thing, you know? It's more like a curse, or you're born that way, or like you got bit by like a wild werewolf, which is not Dr. Zed, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that makes sense to call this canon because there is no other um, folklore centered DLC in Borderlands, as far as I remember. I could be wrong about that. Maybe in Borderlands 3 or Borderlands 4, they added something that basically just contradicts everything I just said. But I know in Borderlands pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, there are no other DLCs like this. So, I don't know, I just think it's interesting that they would set up a zombie storyline and not follow it up with other folklore. Because I feel like that would be so neat. To be like, oh, for the first game we have zombies, for the second game we have vampires, for the third game we have werewolves, for the fourth game we have some other monster, Frankenstein's, something like that. But they don't do that. So I think this is canon. Without being told explicitly, I think this is canon. Because otherwise, this would just be a fantasy thing they could repeat over and over again for fun. But that is not the case. I don't know, just a little ramble. Just a little ramble to immerse myself, I suppose. So yeah, I don't know. I'm taking this as canon. Dr. Zed really did make some zombies and called the Vault Hunter to help him out. And we learn about Jacobs Corporation through that. I don't know. That's just what I'm saying. So far, we haven't had any conflicting info about who is who, where is where, about what is what. So far, this holds up in canon. Or at least in my head canon, I should say. But yeah, we're just going to have to keep playing to find out. But yeah, again, there's like other DLCs in the franchise that kind of reference each other. So, I mean, I really am inclined to say that all of them are canon. And you gotta just have to play them to get the full story of the franchise. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. Also, these big guys, that guy that just killed me, if you didn't notice, that is a Frankenstein character, so that is pretty neat that they added him in. I was trying to kill him with my shotgun just now, but if you'll notice, my shotgun has shock damage on it. So the devs were cool enough to make it so these Frankenstein enemies get healed when you hit them with electricity, right? Which makes complete sense. Because why wouldn't it? I mean, if he was really accurate to the novel, I mean, he wouldn't be able to die. I wouldn't be able to kill him, period. But it makes total sense that he would be immune to electricity. Alright, I kind of got lost there. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just following the waypoints. I think we picked up like 1 or 2 new quests. guessing that little storage house we came out of was where that Hyperion employee was. I can't remember if we actually saw him or not. I'm gonna have to go back there. I don't know, I'm just having fun. Oh! Big guy goes down. I was also mentioning, just to cover my bases here, the first time I saw this guy earlier, I was saying how we're going to see a lot more enemies like this. And by this, I mean, when we first saw him, he was really overwhelming me. He was hitting me with a lot of attacks that put a lot of stuff on the screen so I couldn't see. He was surrounded by smaller enemies, so I couldn't really focus on him without dying. There was just a lot happening that was overwhelming me. And my weapons were just not good enough, really, to take him out easily. So I was talking about how sometimes in this franchise, we're going to see it later a lot, but there's a lot of enemies that just piss you off, just to piss you off, basically. They're not fun to fight at all. They always just are big, and they take, like, no damage. They heal as you're fighting them. They overwhelm you with visual effects, with sound, with enemies that they spawn, or that they get spawned in with. They're over-leveled, etc., etc. Elemental resistance. There's going to be a lot of enemies like that later. We haven't seen too many in this game, but there's going to be a lot of those later. So I was saying, well, that's going to be something that's going to piss me off a lot, I think, when we get to it. Oh, this is just an office of Ned's. I see. Who is he speaking to? Who's making popcorn while he works? He's working with zombies that he reanimated from the dead, and as far as I know, he works alone. So I have no idea who he's talking about, but alright. And I have no idea where I'm going, because this map design is way too confusing. I think I gotta go up here and around the left, I think. It seems like we're just learning about the origin of where these zombies came from, right? Is that what's going on? Oh, this is the main quest. Oh, I should be doing this. Should be doing this this quest here, which is that Severance package quest I mentioned. Oops, my bad. My bad, y'all, my bad. I think lastly, what I mentioned before I'm just caught up on everything I talked about, these big guys that you see that I just talked about, like him, like the Frankenstein, Tankenstein, I think they call him. But enemies like that enemies like that in this game, excuse me, throw a lot of stuff at you. Those big guys were throwing barrels. I think those suicide zombies were throwing barrels at me as well. But that's going to be another big thing that we're going to see later. It's kind of a thing in this game that you can shoot stuff out of the air, and that's like part of the combat later. In this game, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, we don't see it all that often. But later on, like, the first few enemies we see, we're going to see that. And we're going to be able to, like, shoot them out of the air, you know, incorporate that into the gunplay and the combat, which I think is very cool. I feel like a lot of time in shooters, there's not a lot of projectiles that you can interact with. You just have to avoid them. Or if, in the case of like Call of Duty, you can throw a grenade back, something like that. But I think it's cool that you can just shoot stuff out of the air and change the flow of battle a lot.
Onto the old bell.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Really, Bill or Frank?
What is this? Come on, guys.
It's a bit of a hack job, but it seems to work, so I say, ship it.
Frank, he combined two people? Is that what he just said? He said it's not either Frank or Bill, it's Frank and Bill. Like Frank and Bill. Okay. Alright. Alright, alright. So we can't use a shotgun. Our best bet is probably going to be the sniper and our rocket launcher. Maybe even the old shotgun, since it's not a shock element. Oh, I did mention something about this as well. We fought an enemy not too long ago off stream when I thought I was streaming. By we, I mean I. And the enemy was also level 58. And I was saying it's pretty cool that they don't make the level gap too extreme. Because I thought level 58 might be like near impossible to kill or something like that. But we just gotta be careful. This is about how the last fight went too. It was with a big old skag though. It was a little different, but basically the same. Just shoot the critical spots, you know, train around him a while. Use my phase walk to heal when I can. So on and so forth. Whew. So I'm guessing this is, one of these guys must be the Hyperion employee, right? Or I should say parts of that employee were put into this Frankenstein monster. Have y'all seen the new Frankenstein? Because we're on the topic, have y'all seen the new one? By Guillermo del Toro? I saw it. I thought it was pretty good. Not a huge movie head or anything, but I thought it was pretty nice. I wish I knew how to appreciate a movie a little more technically and a little more deeply. I just know the very, very basics of it. You know, you gotta get a writer team, you gotta get a cinematics team, you gotta get special effects team, you gotta get a... You know, like I know most of the teams that you put into a movie, I just don't know about all the work that each of them do. So I'm like, this is a cool movie and all, but I just don't know really what's happening. But I still thought it was nice. I saw some people complain that it wasn't faithful to the book, which I suppose is fair. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people went into the theater thinking it was going to be like a very faithful retelling of the book, just like a modern retelling of it. I understand. But I do like when a director or an author or, you know, somebody retelling a story, I do appreciate when they take their own material and weave it in there. I think it's very cool to do that. And some people were saying the ending of the movie was weak for some reason. Like it was kind of corny, I think they said it was. I saw people saying like, oh, the monster wouldn't do that. Victor wouldn't do that either. Victor probably would have just died. Um, Spoilers, I guess. Victor doesn't die at the end. I'm sorry. But people were complaining like, oh, Victor should have died, or the creature should have did this, or it should have ended this way, or something like that. Like, I don't know. It was a cool movie. I thought I could follow along pretty well. It made sense. It was emotionally resonant, I think. Um, Again, I wish I could dissect like the art of the movie more, in the cinematography and the colors and the wardrobe choices and all that, but I just don't know really what Guillermo was going for. But I thought it was a very beautiful movie. I think all the characters looked really good in the movie. I'll say that. People agree though. People talked about um, Victor a lot. Oscar Isaac. People talked about Mia Goth and Elizabeth a lot. Jacob Elordi. I mean, who doesn't like Jacob Elordi these days? But yeah, I think the movie looked great, but just kind of another movie for me, you know? But that's just me. That's just me. Oh, I kind of forgot what we're doing here. I think we're just filling out this entire tree on the left, right? Each bullet you fire has a chance to daze enemies, reducing their movement and accuracy. Yes. Holy moly, that is so nice. It's gonna be nice with these zombies. They've been overwhelming us easily for a while now. Once we get that up to level 5, it's gonna be amazing.